Hey everyone, this is Jay, also known as Jaynemesis, over on eToro, where I trade as a popular investor. Be sure to follow me there or copy me or whatever you guys want to do. No pressure, you don't have to copy me if you don't want to. Obviously, as always, this video isn't financial advice. Don't take this seriously, entertainment purposes, all of that stuff. I've written a little thing in the description of the video. I do it every time. For those of you that maybe think that that I don't. So this video, this vlog, episode number 2, we made it to number 2. Going to talk about two things. The main topic is going to be earnings, but before I kind of jump into what's coming up with earnings, I really wanted to basically just let you guys know about a webinar that I'm doing with eToro. So the good people over at eToro have asked me to host a webinar or be part of a webinar. I guess I'm not hosting it. I'm the guest of the webinar, you could call it. It's kind of like my live streams, if any of you guys have watched that, but a lot more concise and to the point and controlled, because my live streams, I really like to take time and answer questions quite in depth. Sometimes I go off on little like tangents and rants, whereas the eToro webinar is much more kind of focused and to the point, much more kind of controlled in terms of questioning and things like that. So eToro hosts that. If you want to join it, then you don't need to be on eToro, you don't need to be a member, you don't need to be copying me or following me or anything like that. It's entirely free. Just go to the link in the description. The webinar is on the 5th of May, which is a Tuesday at 4 p.m. UK time. So I guess 1 hour forward for you guys in Europe. For everyone else, I guess consult your local time zones to find out what time that's on. But yeah, Tuesday, May the 5th. If you want to join, link is in the description. So on to the topic of the video, which is earnings. Earnings season is kind of upon us now. We had Netflix last week. That's always one of the first big earnings calls to go out is Netflix. They always seem to have it at slightly strange times. We did well out of Netflix. We closed quite a few positions in the green. I think I have some. I think I have some exposure. Hold on. Yeah, I'm still clinging on to this one position that's a bit in the red, but overall, I think we can be pretty content with that, keeping a bit of exposure. I'm still bullish on Netflix. I still like Netflix as a company. Obviously, they are going to start to run into issues if they run out of catalog. That's the big takeaway that I think the market took after the earnings call was like, they've done well now, but how long can they keep doing well for? At some point, they're going to run out of content. But so far, they're doing a great job. I'm still bullish on them over the long term, which is why I kept this trade open. If we kind of go back to looking at what's ahead, though, so actually a good place to look is on Yahoo Finance. So Yahoo Finance, if you go to the /calendar/earnings, you get this lovely calendar, and weirdly, this calendar does actually change depending on where you set your profile as from on Yahoo Finance. So this won't show me the stuff that's in Europe. This basically only shows me the earnings calls coming out in the US markets. So right at the very top, you can see the first one that's important to us is 3M. That came out this morning. Far better than even I expected, actually. I think better than the company themselves expected to some extent. They didn't really see a slowdown in pretty much any segment. Obviously, they were going to do well on things like masks, and that's why a lot of people jumped onto this stock during obviously the recent coronavirus. But it turns out that they've done well pretty much across the board. They've done well with their food stuff. They've done well with the household DIY stuff that they do. Just doing well across pretty much all sectors. So that was a great start for us. Later on today, we have Google, we have AMD. I think we have Google. Yeah, Google's here. It's literally the third one. How did I not see that? AMD is coming out after market. I'm a big fan of AMD. Those of you who have been following me or copying me for a long time will know that AMD has been a staple of my portfolio. I love trading AMD. I'm trying to find it in my portfolio. Here we go. Yeah, so it's my second biggest position overall. As you can see, I opened quite a few trades recently. As you can see, there's two here. I think I closed one earlier today, actually. But yeah, very, very, very bullish on AMD overall. pretty excited. I think actually I just got an alert on my watch. I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't know why I'm trying to kind of reconfigure the way my wrist works to show you that, but that is actually a notification on my watch telling me about the AMD earnings call. So, so that was very well timed. I swear I didn't plan that. But yeah, AMD, massive fan of them. Always enjoy listening to their call, actually. I think Lisa Su often kind of accidentally gives things away. The questions are always super interesting with AMD as well. Things about, how they're working with the different foundries like TSMC and things like that to build their chips. Super excited to hear about, what they're thinking in terms of the console market as well, because obviously we have the new consoles coming out towards the end of the year, hopefully, unless that's been pushed back because of coronavirus. But overall, really excited by AMD. I think it's actually the stock I am most successful in trading. If I go into my history and organize it, yeah, you can see that I do pretty well on AMD. And I think unless it's disappeared from my stats, it is, yeah. So it's not my most traded anymore. But look at how profitable that is. Oh, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Yeah, so AMD, really excited about those guys. I think those are pretty much the only two for today that I care about in a big way. 3M and AMD. Google obviously have their earnings as well. They should do reasonably well. The problem with Google is that they rely an awful lot on advertising, and when the entire economy is grinding to a halt like it is now, I'm not so sure that advertising is going to be a big earner. But obviously, last quarter wasn't too bad. It's really next quarter that we'll see that kind of kick in. Later on in the week, we've got so tomorrow we've got Microsoft and Tesla. Those are the two big ones tomorrow. Always enjoyable to listen to the Tesla earnings call. You never know what Elon's going to say. He says some pretty wild things sometimes, but I think Tesla is a dark horse. Like I know they've rallied a lot recently, and then they've regained that rally as well, which surprised a lot of people. But I think people really underestimate the battery side of that company. I don't have any positions in them currently, but I am really considering getting some exposure ahead of earnings because I just, every time I've not had exposure to Tesla during earnings, I've been disappointed in myself. So I think I probably will be buying a little bit of Tesla before their earnings to hold through there. On the Microsoft side of things, again, love Microsoft. I think they are the perfect company actually for the coronavirus situation in terms of, feeling good ethically. Like they're a company that provides good stuff and they're good people. They pay their staff well. They look after the environment. All of those kind of things. They're just generally an all round nice company. And on top of that, they just make fantastic products. The only products that are really going to be hurt by the current economic situation is the Surface line, as far as I'm concerned, the hardware side of things. But I suspect that they will have seen a surge in use for all of the Office suite, a surge in signups to Microsoft Teams, which I think is pretty underrated as far as the competitors to Zoom are concerned. And obviously, consoles and everything else that goes with it. Azure, Microsoft has just got a brilliant, diverse portfolio of products that will actually, I think, do very well throughout this crisis and beyond as well. And let's not forget, Microsoft pays dividends. There are so few companies. I can't think of another tech company that pays dividends. Okay, I can. Qualcomm and Garmin, if you count Garmin as a tech company. Yeah, okay, so yeah, there are some that pay dividends, but I think Microsoft really stands out in terms of like the big stocks. I just see it as one of the safest bets there is right now. So I have a lot of exposure to them. Again, if we go back to my portfolio, you can see Microsoft just down here. Some pretty large exposure there. Might be the biggest position in my portfolio currently. And to be honest, I probably will just hold on to that after earnings as well. I'm not really in the mood to be flipping or doing anything too crazy. So yeah, after Wednesday, we've then got Twitter, we've got Apple, a bunch of other companies that I don't really trade as regularly, but trade enough that I'm going to want to pay attention to what's going on. It's going to be a very very busy week, so hopefully you guys can bear with me if I'm not posting too much or making more vlogs like this one. It's because my head will be buried in the numbers that get released with the earnings, and of course in the actual earnings calls themselves, which actually for me is my favorite part of it. I think you can anyone can look at the books and look at the numbers that get released and kind of come to their own conclusions from that pretty quickly. In fact, the bots tend to report it within a few minutes, on if it's bullish or bearish. For me, the thing about playing earnings in terms of trying to maximize your profits is all about understanding what they say in the earnings calls and the kind of language they use and the questions that they don't want to answer. Those are always super interesting to me. So it'll be a fun period, but a very very busy period. So hopefully you guys hopefully you guys will stick with me through this turbulent time. There will be some big swings in the portfolio probably on a daily basis, especially today and tomorrow, depending on how AMD, Tesla, and Microsoft do. Those really are the big positions, AMD and Microsoft. So be prepared for some potential volatility as those swing around. Again, as with everything I trade, I'm bullish on them long term. And that means that if the earnings goes against us and I feel comfortable holding the current level of exposure, we will just hold on to those positions, even if they're in the red. I don't think that will be a problem that we're facing with those companies, at least. So let's hope for the best and see how things go. I think that's pretty much it for this video. I know I've been a bit ranty. Hopefully my microphone volume is much better this time. I know a few of you guys complained last time. I've also tried very hard to switch back to my webcam when I'm not showing anything relevant on the screen. I know I just failed at that for a few seconds there, but I think you'll let me off that one. Hopefully I'll improve over time. If you like the video, please give it a like. I'd love to hear your comments, both in YouTube and on eToro and Twitter. You can follow me on all three of those. If you're not already, then please do subscribe, because why not? It helps me out to keep you guys in the loop if you guys are watching these videos. And if you're the kind of person that really wants to actively see what's going on in the portfolio, then that's a good way of keeping up with things. I think that's it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you again next time.